Yo, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Dawson from D&D TV. I'm here along with my good friend, Miss Controversy Byrd. Say what's up to the people, Miss Controversy.
Peace, peace, and blessings, everybody. What's up?
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, last night, Miss Controversy Byrd and I had a chance to go and see a really coming-of-age film by Barry Jenkins entitled Moonlight. And it was a really good film. And Miss Controversy and I, they gave us, good seating up in the front out in Wynwood. We went to the O Cinema. And Miss Controversy, I mean, it was just, what did you think about the movie? You go first.
Wow. So where do I start? First, I want to say that I felt nostalgic seeing Miami on the silver screen.
Yeah, that
but
was good.
Not like Miami beach in a way that it's like portrayed in a lot of bigger movies, or the stereotypical part of Miami, the Cuban flavor, the Haitian flavor, so on and so forth. Although I love that, but to see the pork and beans, and to see your historical black high schools, to see kids that look like little Nene or whoever right on your street. That was phenomenal. That was portrayed exquisitely.
Yes, it was.
And then to add on top of that the experience and the struggle and the emotional complication of a crack mother on top of your own sexual origins being question mark, like your sexual preference, not really knowing what's going on with that, and then seeing killing and so on. And oh my goodness, it was just a great compilation of all the things that were Miami at the time from this young man's perspective. So that part was very interesting. And the controversial part was interesting as well, because we tend to treat so many things with taboo, and we don't talk about it. So we just shun it or say it's wrong or whatever have you. But at the end of the day, a lot of things that are taboo and controversial aren't going away.
Nope.
And so how do we deal with it? So when I'm watching the film, I'm thinking about, what happens emotionally to someone first before they become a victim. What happens to someone first become the victimizer or the bully.
Yeah.
So, I'm already thinking, like, what's bigger than beef? Oh, yeah, that's what's bigger than beef. Like, the root of it, the emotional part of it. So, like, I'm like all over the place in the movie. Like,
we both were.
I'm watching it like this because I don't know what's about to happen.
I know, and she's hitting me like, oh, my God, what's going to happen? They finna fuck? I'm like, I don't know. You drugged me here, so I don't know what's going to happen.
I didn't know. It was a lot of suspense. It was a lot of, I guess because I knew going in that it was about, a homosexual journey. Yeah. Or, you know what I mean? So I didn't know what to expect. And I'm all like, what's getting ready to happen? Because, I ain't never seen none of this stuff.
Hey, you thought this was going to be Brokeback Mountain, the black version? That's what you thought?
Well, I never saw Brokeback. And
I didn't either. I just know it's about a homosexual movie. But
Who on the Mountain? Whatever. But I just didn't know what to expect because it was so good.
It was a real good movie. Yeah.
Just as a film, and having it being put together, produced, divinely created by someone who from Miami, like that's like,
Barry Jenkins.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't know what's up with that.
Exactly. I loved everything, like you had mentioned about the pork and beans. That's the projects down here in Miami, and being that I'm a social worker down here, to be able to see. It was like just what's going on today with a lot of my clients. I have clients who I've worked with, kids who were gay, who were transgender, who, black and Hispanic, in those areas. And just to see them getting the shine that they deserve, because so many people shun their heads when it comes to the crack addicted mother, to the drug dealer who, has that different polarity.
But nobody wants to tell the other part of the story.
Nobody wants to tell the other part. And a lot of times the kids, and not most of the times, the kids who are suffering by having those drug addicted parents, or having, being in those areas where there are a lot of gangs, and to see that they still have hopes and dreams in that. And all of a sudden, even with self-discovery, they're discovering who they are as young children, as adolescents, adolescent as well, you know, and a lot of them are forced to become adults quick, as we can see with Chiron, you know, almost basically taking care of his mom, you know, when she was out on those crack binges, giving her money when he didn't want to, and then experiencing that emotion aside from what he was experiencing sexually, you know, with the sexuality.
Yeah, there was layers of things that I think, and being a former educator, watching a child's life from that angle just proves that we miss the whole boat when we interact and deal with kids. We don't really understand what is really going on at this time of adolescence, at this time of, you know, coming of age and so on and so forth. It's so many different layers. Like, some of my favorite students were failing, and it was because they came to class to get some of me, not necessarily what was in the book, and I understood that. Yeah, like, it was, you know, it was no way to get around what these kids need. And so for that to be displayed so blatantly pushes me to encourage parents, teachers, and community leaders to really provide support and to really kids, understand that these kids need us. Like, they need us. My favorite scene, he's at the table, you know, as a young boy talking to Juan, is it right?
Talking to Juan, yeah.
And, you know, he's asking him, like, yo, what's this? Yo, are you that? Like, he's being so live and raw.
Yeah, he asked him, you know, what is a faggot? And I think that was very important, and how Juan, you know, explained to him, you know, a faggot is something that, you know, and I'm paraphrasing, that people use to demean and to, you know, put, you know, say about gay people. And, you know, you see Teresa's character, how she was like, don't go all into it. And everybody in the movie theater started laughing. But just, I was thinking about that part too, because that was one of my favorite parts today. It's ironic that was one of the stronger parts to me, because how many parents have to sit down with their kids who are teenagers and adolescents, or even adults, and well, not adults, I'm sure they better know who they are by now, but at his age, and say, you know, what is this? Why am I being picked on? Why do people say, you know, I'm a dyke, if they were to use that word, or I'm a faggot or whatever? How many parents have to sit with their kids and talk about that, because no one wants their kid to be picked on, or, you know, no aunt, and, you know, Juan was a guardian, but no one wants, you know, to see a child go through that, because those are some really tender years when you're a child and an adolescent.
But, okay, so a couple things happen during that scene, because he also asked him, are you a drug dealer?
Exactly.
And is my mom a crackhead? Yeah. So he's already connecting the dots.
Exactly.
And that's one thing that I want adults to do, is give kids more credit, because they see your ass.
Yeah.
Like, they see you, they watching you.
Yeah.
They know if you got, like, a husband and, like, 2 boyfriends and maybe a girlfriend. They see you. They see how you roll. So, like, quit thinking that the kids are invisible, because they're more receptive than you think, especially in their adolescence and in their growing stages. And so that just lets me know that he was pretty alert and aware.
Yes.
And while he has to learn from the people that may contribute to his demise, even though his mentor was contributing to his demise, because ultimately, you know, he was selling drugs in his community, and his mama was a crackhead.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, and him loving his mom and trying to respect his mom, considering that she has this drug issue and problem for whatever reason. You know, the beef is the root of all foolishness. So whatever caused her to do drugs, whatever caused Juan to sell drugs, whatever caused, you know, Chiron to feel inadequate because no one was really explaining things to him. Those seeds, you know, they grow into ugly fruit, if you will, if they're not tended to.
Exactly.
And so, like, now we have him, you know, grown up as Black with his fine self. Ooh. Okay, so he grown up now, right? And it's funny that he's taking on roles that were around him.
Yep, that he saw as a kid, yeah.
And so you say, you know, as an adult, you should know what you are. But as you saw in the movie, he still struggled with that.
And, you know, I think it's ironic with these two actors. The older Chiron, he looked almost exactly like Juan. You know, you notice that? And but one of the things,
mannerisms, licking the lips. Listen,
he
I've
looked
seen all
exactly
black.
like one.
Seen all that black.
But you know, and one of the things, you know, I like when Juan took him out to the beach, and y'all been to Miami. We got the best beach in the whole world, man. Seriously. And he took him out to the beach, and he was basically, when he was teaching him how to swim, a lot of things I got in that. One is almost like he was baptizing him, almost like, you know, his own type of baptizing him. Right? Exactly. And then the whole thing about showing him how to swim, almost like life is a current, life is waves, and you got to be able to stand up on your own, however you're going to do it. And it was a time when we saw the screenshot when it was just him swimming by himself, and immediately that's what I got. And then Juan came back in the screen, and you know, you saw him teaching him how to swim. So I thought that was a very good moment in the movie as well. It was a pivotal moment in the movie. Very pivotal. Yeah. And the water, period. Yeah. So now it's coming to full circle, because he was first introduced to realness by Juan with the water, by Juan, by watching him and observing him. Yeah, exactly.
It was raw and real. And then, you know, we flipped to the scene where I was like, what's about to happen? And the water was there again. Exactly. And I think we use the symbol, the water as a symbol of purification. Mm-hmm. And this may seem ironic or maybe even blasphemy to some people, but in the scenes in the movie where water is present, you know, that's where he's living the truest moments of his existence. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, you know, I encourage people to spend a lot of time by the water, so you can connect with your divine creative energy. And I'm gonna leave that alone, because somebody might be like, "What you mean?" I know they definitely are. They just listen again. Just listen to it again. Go off of what 163rd Newport Beach. Go off the pier and just observe and experience the water. Well, I went there, and I went up under the pier. We weren't experiencing water, but we had fun. But anyway, I'm joking. Go ahead. TMI. Okay. No, again, back to him, you know, with the water scene. You said those were his realest moments. And it was true, because every time he was in the water, the time when he was in the bathtub, when he was in the sink, and he put the ice in there, and he was looking at himself in the mirror. And when you're looking at yourself in the mirror, I mean, you can't lie to yourself. You're there. All right. All right. All right. He allowed the other stuff to go away. So, all right. I really like that part too. And when he becomes an adult, you know, one thing that I was thinking about today as I was reading comments, because a lot of people, you know, didn't think the movie, they were like, how the movie ended. It was like, what were you trying to do? It just like cut off, you know. And I was listening to some of the explanations that the cast members gave, as well as Barry Jenkins. And he was saying that basically he found himself when he came back to, you know, his friend, but it was almost like he could have went out. That could have been a moment that he went out and, you know, knew who he was sexually. It could have been a moment that he decided, I need to turn my life around and, you know, be better. It's basically left up to the viewer to, you know, come up with their own conclusion as to what Chiron's life will be like, you know. Well, I cannot wait to interview Mr. Jenkins, because I have so many questions. And Mr. Jenkins, if you're watching, thank you for putting together such a epic movie and being transparent about your experiences. So I look forward to it. And a lot of us, I think, like, we have these childhood experiences that shape us. Yeah. But we bury them a lot of times. You know, sometimes it's ancestral because it's with your cousin, your neighbor, your whoever. And then when you think back on your life and you're like, wait a minute, okay, I was interested in this, or I wasn't. Or you know what, somebody tried to try me and I remember cutting their ass. You know, know what I mean? Yeah. Like, or I remember telling Big Mama, or I remember telling so-and-so and they didn't believe me and they said it was my fault. Yeah. So it's a lot that goes, I think, into shaping us. It's a lot that goes into raising raising a responsible, a emotionally intelligent being. I think a lot of times in the Black community, we not raising emotional, intelligent beings and humans and spiritual beings. We're not doing that.
All we got to do is look at World Star Hip Hop and see what's going on there. And then, you know, social media, and they'll tell you the type of people that have been raised and the kids that are coming behind them that they are raising. And that brings me back to the movie when we talk about Chiron when he was a teenager. Kids who grow up in that environment, as we saw how he got bullied in school.
You saw he got that chip?
Yeah, you know, and everybody clapped when he came back and, you know, hit the bully over the head, you know.
Because he had enough.
He had enough, but what about the kids who opted out with suicide? There are a lot of kids who were gay, who were lesbian, and some who weren't even. They were just gotten picked on. And to go through all of that, having nobody at home to listen to you. Then, you know, the school people telling you one thing, but then you have to go back in this circle, this almost like circle, the satanic circle, where these people are just like bashing you, picking you out, taking their frustrations of stuff they might be going through at home just to put it out on you. And it's like, there are a lot of kids.
Parents need to watch this. That's why parents need to watch this. Parents don't know who is in their house.
Exactly.
And it's not for you to police like your kids in a sense. One is for you to be honest with yourself, because a lot of parents are not true and honest to their own divine creativity. Those of you that know me know I'm really big on
they don't know what that is.
Arts and whatever your gift is. If you're suppressing whatever you do naturally, 9 times out of 10, you're doing something that you don't enjoy. You might be doing something that you're good at, but it's not really serving you. So it's like some form of lack, right? So if you're living a life like that, you're probably raising children like that. And I see them all the time because I work with kids. Mr. Barry Jenkins, when I'm watching your movie, I'm like, yo, everybody needs to get a little taste of this. You know, of this little taste of Miami, this little taste of what young people are going through.
I think I mean, I love the fact that it was done in Miami, but this is a universal theme, especially within the Black community, the movie Moonlight, because there, like you said, there are so many people who are dealing with having drug addicted parents, a father who is not there, or being raised by auntie and big mom. And these kids are acting out in ways that, you know, it's just like you see them acting out on social media. Social media has been good, and it's also for some people has become a curse, because I mean, we can see, and I'm only talking about Black people and Hispanic people here, minorities here, you know, when we see ourselves on World Star Hip Hop and acting out, a lot of these kids, and I'm willing to go on a limb out here and saying a lot of them came from backgrounds like Chiron came from, and they're acting out what they saw within their culture, well, within their community, and working in the pork and beans. I have several clients who still live there, you know, and mothers, you know, who I talk to,
Say it, because all this anti-bullying talk, they ain't gonna get back to say, well, the bullying kind of stems from the household, and then but wait, what's in the household? Like, why is the household dysfunctional?
Exactly.
And why wouldn't we think that a dysfunctional house wouldn't affect the people in the house?
But then it's up to the parents too. I mean, you can't, I mean, for us as a social worker and for teachers, people, you know, I have parents say, well, what y'all gonna do for my child? What you gonna do? Well, the thing I always tell my mothers, what do they see you do? Because it's mostly mothers who are running those households, and they have boyfriends who are a little younger than them, or little drug boys. What are you gonna do? Your son knows that this guy is younger.
They're the ones that need the help, baby.
Yeah.
They're the ones that need
they're
the help.
Shifting responsibility.
We're asking them to be responsible, but they're the ones with the emotional, intelligent quotient that's like close to zero because of whatever have you from, you know,
they need a quick
Jim Crow, from whatever have you. You know, but we need to have some agencies out there, some organizations out there, understanding that where the root of the problem is, and wherever the root of the problem is where you need to apply the remedy. It's where you need to apply the solution. And I think with school systems and some of these community agencies and organizations, they just pacify. And then the problem perpetuates, and we wonder why.
Well, I feel that, I feel you on that. But at some point, like with the agency I work with, a lot of people they're comfortable being where they are. When you offer them better, they're comfortable with, in certain living situations, they're comfortable with, certain,
Of course they are, because
so they're not thinking about advancing themselves.
Motion ain't right, like.
But then on that point too, a person has to want to change and do better. And I'm the character Chiron, I'm happy that he got away from Miami, but then he went to Atlanta and he started doing the same thing because of what he saw. And then at the end, one of the other questions I had, it was kind of weird because he told a guy, he was like, you're the only man who ever touched me or whatever he said. And that didn't go right with me because I'm like, dude, you went to Atlanta. You mean he's the only man seriously who ever touched you and you went to Atlanta?
Well,
I'm like, come on, man.
Seeing how he grew up, he was very reserved, because and also suspicious of other people, because he's suspicious of himself. He's trying to figure this thing out. He's trying to figure out who he can trust after he gets done crying a sea. He said he cried so much. You understand? So I could imagine that. And, this opens up so many different types of conversations, since you're talking about Atlanta, since you're talking about, him possibly interacting with his sexuality, on an experimental note, because now you have men that may have experienced this and don't even know if they're really identifying with it, but they have full-fledged families, like the counterpart in the movie. Do you remember the name of that character?
His friend, I forget his name. Oh man, I thought he was Cuban at first, but he was I forget his name.
Little light-skinned dude. So like even with him, so he Kevin was like, what? You never did that before? It's no big deal. Because Kevin is more confident in his exploration. So then you have that part of the conversation, like men that are out there experimenting with their sexuality and not being open and honest.
But I think Kevin's character, I think he was just bisexual. That's what I thought I thought he was just liking both, because you see in the movie where he's clearly having sex with girls all growing up, and then I just thought he was just bisexual. I think that's what I thought about his character. And there are people who are bisexual.
There are bisexual men that are not open and honest with their straight girlfriends. So I said the movie can open up a lot of different conversations.
Oh, well, we could talk about that, because there are a lot of people, there are a lot of women who are bisexual too, and who are not open to who are married as well. Can you hear me?
I say, yeah, I can hear you. I said they show is.
Yeah. And what would you say about that? Did this movie hit on that you need to tell the truth? What about who you sleep with?
Yeah, I think more than telling the truth, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to live your own truth before you be truthful with other people. But if you faking flaw, it's gonna come off in some kind of way, because when people find out, they may want to come get with you.
Yeah, especially if they've been sleeping with you and you're married to them. Then I definitely agree with that. People
out there don't hurt nobody. It ain't worth it.
What you mean by that? Don't hurt nobody.
Don't hurt nobody. If that has happened to you, don't cut nobody.
that is how it's funny, because we sit here and we see this movie, and some people may be like, oh, that's a little gay movie, I don't want to see that mess. But what this character, it wasn't that at all to me. This was a really good movie. I went in thinking some kind of way, and it came out totally different than what I thought it was. But to your point, there are a lot of people, when we talk about sexuality in the Black community, and speaking of having clients who were, in low income areas, I had a client who this guy had served 12 years in jail. In prison, and he got out, and my client, I went over her house one week, she was doing good with her kids, came back over 2 weeks later, hey, this is my new boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, cool, where do okay, where did this dude come from? Oh, well, he just got out of prison, he served 12 years, and he been writing me for the past 3 years, so he came home, and here we go. And my mind is like, this dude just came out of prison, and 12 years served, and okay, if that's what you want, that's what you have. But there's a lot of things. We don't even, like I told you when we went to see this movie, when it talks about sexuality, the prison rape that happens, the brute force that happened. And we've talked about that here on Dawson and D's, how people could possibly, if they're not already, some people say they were born gay, but if they get turned out or if they're raped, I mean, we don't even talk about those issues when it
incest.
Incest as well.
Okay, so
yeah.
we know this
Molested,
stems back to white supremacy and how we've been shaped and molded from slavery, but we ain't finna get into all of that.
Please don't.
But I will say it does play a role, and so does genetically modified foods. But I'm only me.
We'll have to talk about that on another video. We had a conversation about that.
Y'all can look that up on your own if you want to.
Yeah, do that. Yeah. We'll have to talk about that.
I do have to give a shout out, Dawson, to Miss Shire, who shared, first of all, beautiful artist, divine creativity all over the place. Thank you so much for recommending the movie to me, and all that you're doing in our community, and just being a phenomenal queen. So thank you. I'm glad that you told me about the film. I enjoyed it. I do recommend parents to watch it. Maybe parents, you want to watch it first, especially if you have a child who you may suspect might be going through something. Watch it just from a child's perspective, because you don't want your child to be living a lie. You don't want your child to be unhappy or suicidal because they haven't been able to sort out their feelings and emotions. So I encourage parents who may have transgender, bisexual, or gay children, and they think that they may be, I advise you to watch it.
Yeah. And also educators who work with kids, period, because it's a lesson in there about bullying for people in general. I mean, aside from the fact of sexuality, just when we see people who are other, who are disabled, who happen to, have different things that are, different, religious beliefs or something, how we feel as people, how sometimes people treat them, or, children when they come in contact with that. I think it's good for people just to see it. So definitely it was a good movie, and thank you for taking me out to see it. We had a good time, even though you got me there late.
I got you there late. You talk about you gonna pick me up. Anyway, we ain't going there. Listen, we had an after party at the little place next door. If you ever Winwood. Nice. What is the place called? Do you remember?
It would just have some food trucks, reggae music, and it was a bar in the middle.
Live music every Sunday. Music. Oh my goodness, it was
great,
live.
Man. And whoever watched this video, y'all come to Miami, have a good time. Check out the Winwood area, Winwood District, or whatever it is. I mean, they're just doing phenomenal things out there. Getting ready for Art Basel and all that good stuff down here. I mean, there's more to Miami than just the beaches, and it is it is, although we love that. But I really enjoyed this movie, and hopefully this movie, what it's doing and will continue to do is, open up a conversation, for people to talk about these issues, and then to open up a conversation in other ways for people to really be open enough to tell their significant other if they are, in a relationship and they are, like a Juan character or somebody, and they're lying to somebody to tell them the truth. Latoya, why you laughing? There's some people out there need help, man.
Amen.
All right. So again, thank you all for watching. I'm your guy, Dawson.
Thank you. And this is Miss Latoya Byrd. I really appreciate you guys. Check me out on goodnewsghouls.com, where we are celebrating and creating good news everywhere.
Exactly. And I'm your guy, Dawson. And on behalf of me and Denise, thank you all for watching. Peace.
Peace.